morning, good afternoon. My name is Amanda and welcome to the Dunn Creative. I am so excited to be back. My kids went back to school today, so you know what that means. Back to our regularly scheduled content. Yes, I can't tell you how excited I am to be back. Hopefully I can get ramped back up to 2 pick-a-cards a week. For a while there before summer I was even doing 3 a week, but I don't know if I'm gonna hit it that extreme, but I'm hoping to get back to a 2 a week schedule once again. Before we get into this, I did want to let you guys know I have a live stream channel where I go live doing readings over there, and I do collective readings. Not every time, but sometimes I do, and then other times I will just pull one card for everybody who shows up in the chat. And I also have a writing/vlogging channel, and all of that is linked in the description below. And also, if you're interested in booking a personal reading with me, you can always email me at amanda@dunnphotodesign.com. Link for that also in the description below. I'm out of practice with my little spiel here, so I'm getting a little long-winded. My apologies. But if you are new to pick-a-card readings, I just ask that you close your eyes, take a couple of deep cleansing breaths to center your energy. And I just wanted to say, if you were drawn to any one of these specific cards, I'm going to be using all 3 of these different card decks within every reading. So you can select group 1 with the turquoise, group 2 with the amethyst, or group 3 with the peridot. And once you've selected your pile, or if multiple piles call out to you, there may be messages in each pile for you, but once you have selected your pile or piles, you can check the description box below for the timestamps, and I also pin them as the top comment. But please remember, these are general readings, so only take the information that resonates with you, your life, your situation, and just go ahead and leave the rest behind. So without delaying this any further, I'm going to give you a moment to meditate on your cards, and I will see you over at your reading. Alright, group 1, or those of you who selected the turquoise, this is going to be your message, and I think we'll just set that little guy right up there for you. Oh, cutting it off. There we go. Okay, so the card you use to select your pile, this is from the Urban Crow Oracle, so we're gonna start right here. So we have the word play, and we're also gonna get some other cards in the mix here, but yes, I forgot to mention it in the intro, I'm just now realizing. This is a message from your future self. I'm so excited about the spiel to get back in action. Kids are back at school, that I forgot to tell you guys. Of course, the title will tell you. This is a message from your future self, and your future self is coming in group 1 to let you know it's time to play. You're closing out these old cycles with the number 36 here, where maybe it was all work, or maybe it was all taking care of someone else, or just not having enough time for yourself, self-love, self-care, doing things you enjoy that may not even be very productive. This could be looking like, you know, Netflix. This could be looking like, you know, things that we do that we sometimes almost feel ashamed of doing because they're not producing something or we're not monetizing them, but they are just as, if not sometimes more important than the things we do because we have to. Just playing, just creating, just getting out in nature. If you have children, just connecting with your children, getting down to their level, or, you know, connecting with them through the activities that they enjoy. And also your inner child. What were the activities you enjoyed as a child? Just try bringing those back to life, resuscitating those activities just to see if they still, you know, really ring true to your heart. One thing for me was coloring and drawing. I always loved doing that as a child. And another thing I would do at my grandma's house is she'd give me all these old catalogs and magazines, and I'd cut them out, different things, and make paper dolls or collages. And I still kind of do that every once in a while. I've been in the very long-term works of making my own little just personal oracle card deck, which is kind of a collage style, cut and paste out of, you know, cut out of a magazine and pasted on a card. I've been doing that for a while. It's so much fun. But yeah, whatever floats your fancy, floats your boat, try it. Try it. Your higher self, your future self, and your inner child are all calling you to have some more playtime in your life. And even if those of you who like are workaholics, or you just are, you know, stay-at-home moms is a big thing. I was a stay-at-home mom in the very early part. I've always been a work-from-home mom, but my main priority, especially when my kids were very small, was their needs, their care. And because my kids are now at school, I have time to do other things. But especially my stay-at-home moms with young ones at home, it's very important to carve out, even if it's just 25 minutes or, you know, 10 minutes, if that's all you can swing before bedtime or before everybody gets up for the day, whatever your schedule allows. something is better than nothing is what I'm hearing. So do something your heart calls you to do. Of course, the more time you can spend on it, the better, obviously, but we don't all have just this unlimited well of time, especially my parents out there, right? Let's go ahead and get some tarot in the mix. Just see any other messages from your future self for group 1. Ooh, we got 2 right there. Look at that. Okay, so first and foremost, we have the 4 of Pentacles. Pairing that up with the 2 of Swords. Okay, okay. So yeah, you guys might even be making some new financial decisions or some decisions that are going to affect your future financial status. This could look like, for some of you, switching jobs to a job that pays more. I'm actually even seeing someone who's switching jobs to a job that pays less, but it's more in alignment with your purpose, and you're going to find a way to make the money that you're making from this job stretch, and you're actually going to feel this bigger sense of purpose. And as a result of feeling that, you're going to then be able to create more income as a result. This could look like some sort of promotion or a side job or some sort of bonus, sign-on bonus maybe for someone. But there might be this confusion or lack of clarity, maybe for some of you, like what your next steps are financially, or should I make that big purchase or should I wait? So those of you that are kind of struggling, like, should I make this purchase? Should I wait? I'm hearing waiting is not going to be a bad idea, meaning waiting is probably your best bet until you have more information or you have this big epiphany or aha moment. And right as I said that, Spirit dinged with my phone over there. So maybe you're getting more information through an email or some sort of communication that will then make your decision like solidified. You'll know exactly what you need to do. Those of you who have been struggling with money or trying to make ends meet or just trying to pay your regular bills, I'm seeing some sort of help come in. This could even look like, for some of you that are that have the student loans, like having that forgiveness or whatever. I don't know much about it. I've never had student loans, but I'm hearing it's all the buzz right now with a couple of people in my life. So maybe there's some sort of loan forgiveness or something. But you're sitting pretty at the end of this year. Of course, I'm filming this in September, well, the last day of August of 2022. But say you're watching this in 2025 or whenever. By the end of the calendar year that you're in, you're going to be sitting pretty, whatever that looks like for you. Okay, let's go ahead and get some additional guidance. Okay, what else does group 1 need to know, please, Spirit? Future self, from their future self. All right, so we have your discernment, and I love this coming in because this is a very 2 of Swords in reverse, meaning the fog is lifting, the clouds are parting. You're going to be able to know exactly what's meant for you, and it has to do with a new beginning, because remember, we're closing out these old cycles where it's all work or all blah, and bringing some more fun, passion, and excitement into our lives with the new beginning. So there's a new beginning, and you're going to be able to discern what is meant for you and what you can leave behind. One more from this deck. That's too many, but thank you. There was the patience card I did see. So maybe patience is kind of a virtue with you guys. It's just having a little bit of patience, especially those of you who are maybe watching in a January when I'm like, oh, you're going to be sitting pretty by the end of the year. There's an element of patience there, having to wait, 12 or 11 months. But let's see. We also have self-love, and this goes hand in hand with the main theme of this reading from your future self, is to play. And a big form of self-love is allowing ourselves that time to just connect to that inner child, or to do the things that really light us up as adults. This is so important. But also, like, I'm hearing like hygiene. I'm seeing someone, and I'm calling myself out just as much, so don't feel called out. We all have these like comfy shirts or sweatpants or socks or whatever it is that may tend to get dingy or get holes in them, and they still feel comfy, but maybe they don't look so good. So we don't feel so good about ourselves when we wear these things, especially if we're going out in public, or people are coming over and they see us wearing these things that, yes, they may feel comfy, but we don't necessarily feel great looking in them, if that makes sense. Not that this is all about looks, but I'm really seeing, as you guys like sprucing up your external reality to match a lot of this up leveling you're doing on the inside, specifically with connecting to your inner child. I'm seeing someone who, as a child, it was very few and far between that you got new items or gifts, or I'm seeing maybe there were a lot of hand-me-downs or second-hand, third-hand, fourth-hand clothing, shoes. I'm even seeing like lunch boxes. This is very random messages coming through, but Now is the time to treat yourself. Of course, if finances are a deal for you right now, there are programs where you can get your needs met. And also like secondhand, consignment, thrifting. I always have and probably always will be a big fan of thrift stores, consignment shops. I just don't want to have to pay full price for something I don't have to. And it doesn't matter how much money's in my bank account or not. I still have this mentality of if I can get the exact same thing cheaper, I'm going to go that route. So maybe you guys are just finding ways with your budget specifically to really treat yourself without breaking the bank. Because there are a lot of ways we can do like a self at home, like mani-pedi, or like I cut my own hair. And of course, if these are things that kind of scare you, like I'm not gonna ever cut my own hair, you don't have to do that. But you know, those of you who are on a budget, there are ways you can take care of yourself and treat yourself without having to go without, but without also having to break the bank to do it. Okay, let's see, what deck haven't I used? Oh, the Earth Magic. Okay, so we'll get one more final message from Group 1's future self. What does your future self want you to know? Oh wow, we have here Invocation with the Ceremony card. So you guys are doing a lot of level up. Some of you might even be doing some sort of beauty spell or self-love spell, maybe even a love spell. But any love spells, I would just let you guys know, especially if you're trying to manifest a specific person. Yes, you have the ability to do that, but sometimes that specific person that our ego or our mind has our heart set on isn't always the best person. So I always, anytime I'm trying to manifest, even like a dream home or anything like this, I always say, or in highest, you know, I'll say my wish or my manifestation, and then I'll say, or whatever is in my highest alignment. Something like this. So you guys really are connecting to your future selves, maybe even feeling out a future version of yourself who's living the life you've always dreamed of, because there is a future timeline, future version of yourself that is absolutely living that life. So connect to your future self every minute of the day if you feel like it, or at the very least, you know, before you go to bed or once a week, check in to a version of you that is living in the future, that is doing and living and being the life, the person, the situation you would like to experience. So especially around the full moon and the new moon or any eclipses, we've got eclipses coming up, I want to say in October of 2022, but we have 2 eclipse cycles a year, every year. So whenever you're watching this, just kind of look forward to that next eclipse cycle and really plan. And there's also gateways, you know, like the 8-8 or the Lion's Gate. We've got, you know, the 9-9, 10-10, 11-11, 12-12, all the different portals, even earlier in the year as well. And just big moments when you just feel, also like your solar return, Jupiter return, you know, like planetary returns, Venus return is a great time to have a new cycle in love. Mercury return is a great time to learn new things or go on a, you know, start a school or a certification, or just learn. So I think that is mostly what your future self wants you to know. These were kind of widely varied and all over the place, but you guys are probably my biggest, so far that I'm tuning into, obviously, my biggest spectrum of people who, some are doing really well, others are doing not well at all, and others are somewhere in between. So this message was probably the most general of the 3, most likely. Again, I haven't done the other 2 yet, but I'm feeling that way. So if only some of this resonated, only take what resonates and just go ahead and leave the rest behind. But with that, I'm gonna let you guys go. But please feel free to let me know below what you thought, if this does feel in alignment with your future self, just anything you want to share. And as always, thanks again so much for all those likes, comments, shares, subscribes, and super thanks. Thank you so much. It's the little heart with the $sign below this video, and that is one way you can donate to give back to the channel if my messages ever help you. It is never ever expected, but always greatly appreciated. And those that don't want to do the super thanks, you can always send PayPal donation. Link for that is in the description below. Again, never ever expected. But I love you guys, and I hope to see you right here back at the Dunn Creative. Alright, bye! Alright, group number 2, or those of you who selected the amethyst, this is going to be your message from your future self, which I forgot to mention in the intro, but it is in the title of this video, so I'm sure you already knew what you were getting into when you clicked on this video. A message from your future self, or just whatever you need to know. And we're going to start with the card you used to select the pile. We have your rebirth with the spring equinox. And of course, at the time of my filming this, we are in the northern hemisphere anyway, coming toward the autumn equinox. So it's kind of reverse world going on, but you guys, this really does feel like a rebirth time, a regenerative time, especially those of you who've had a very rough time recently, or you're just ready for some new energy, fresh energy, try something new, start something new. Some of you may even be closing out some old cycles before starting something new. We're going to go ahead and get some tarot and see what else is coming in, but I do see a lot of transformation, a lot of 8th house stuff. And I even hear something about someone speaking out against something that they don't agree about or agree with. Instead of just keeping your mouth shut and just shaking your head like, what the heck is going on? It's like you're speaking out or speaking up for either yourself, a family member, a friend, a coworker. You're just not allowing certain people or systems to just take advantage in some way. And that might be a very specific message for just a very small handful of you, but just keep that in mind. Your future self wants you to be the one who stands up for yourself and others, specifically about the things that just completely go against your moral compass, if that makes sense. All right, let's get some tarot in the mix. Messages for group 2 from their future self, please, Spirit. What do they need to know? Messages from their future self. That one. Okay, exciting. We got the Chariot. Yeah, and because something might go against your moral standing, your moral compass, you may be walking away from a relationship, a situation, a job that you feel is no longer in alignment with you. And we do have here a heart, like a human heart, not like, you know, heart shape, but like a human heart looking organ going on here. We got some chickens, which are very like fertile, and with the rebirth energy, it's very interesting because we've got a little nest of eggs here, and you know, chickens lay eggs, so there are going to be plenty of opportunities for you to find this success, this abundance, this happiness, and even passion for the life you're living coming up. So if the situation, job, relationship, housing, location, whatever it is, isn't lining up with what you know you deserve and what you, it just doesn't feel good with your heart, it doesn't align with your heart, you're moving on. Your future self wants you to know you have the support, protection, love, and stability from spirit, from your own higher self, future self, inner child, inner parent, you know, all your guides and angels, crossed over loved ones are there. They have your back, and you can't go wrong. Whatever decision you make, as long as it's in alignment with your highest good in your heart, you will only succeed in whatever this is. Wow. And then the Knight of Cups. Yes, there's more emotional fulfillment because what you have been experiencing or what you've been going through hasn't really been emotionally fulfilling, hasn't really been in alignment with your heart. Maybe certain aspects of your life have been, but there is at least one part of your life that could be more emotionally fulfilling. And for group 2s, I think most of you are like, pretty much every area of my life could be a more emotionally fulfilling. And yes, this is the time. This is rebirth. It's time to do kind of a life review, or you know, take stock, do some journaling, do a big brain dump of all the things. You could do a pros and cons list. Pros, what's really going amazing in my life and I want to continue, and write all those down, and then a cons list of what in my life could be better. I think we've all got at least one area of life we think we could do better, or, you know, we don't allow other people to do us dirty. We could, you know, express some boundaries, you know, whatever that looks like. And I think for many of you, this might even have to do with your creativity. This is a very creative card, very creative card, very creative card. And Cancer energy and the cups, you know, water energy. And of course picking up Taurus, because the spring equinox always reminds me of Taurus season. I know more probably Aries season per, you know, dates on a calendar when the spring equinox happens for Western astrology. But for me personally, being a Taurus sun in Western astrology, it's never warm in Montana until maybe sometimes even after my birthday on April 28th. So I always associate springtime with Taurus season. So yeah, something to do with creating Taurus season any time of the year. Any time of the year at all. It to me almost feels like these clouds are almost snow-like. So especially if you get snow where you're at and maybe you're coming upon a season, like at the time of my filming, we still have the autumn time. But then after that comes the winter time where I live. So it's almost like gearing up toward winter. A lot of people are hunkering down and, you know, doing all this, but it's like you guys are having this explosion of rebirth energy, which is very, very exciting. That's what your future self wants you to know. Of course, if you feel like slowing down certain days or certain weeks or full months at a time, listen to your body, listen to your gut instincts about this. Your future self is steering you to what is meant for you. And I just heard manifestation is going to be huge for you guys. Something you guys have been trying to manifest is coming very quickly, because you've put in so much effort and so much work, and now is the time to really reap the benefits of whatever it is you've been trying to manifest. Okay. All right, what else? What other messages do we have for group 2s from group 2's future self? For group 2, obviously. All right, one more message from your future self. All right. Exciting. I'm excited. Ooh, we have distance here. Yes. Like I said, you guys might be putting your distance between you and something or someone that just doesn't align with your heart, with your, moral compass. So you might be distancing yourself from people at work who are gossiping, or maybe even a job or a location. And I'm getting chills on my crown. So Spirit really is leading the way to help you distance yourself from the things, the people, the situations that just are no longer for your highest good, for your highest alignment. You guys are done settling. That's really what I'm hearing here. And for some of you, that might look like a move with your work, with your relationships, with your job, with your home, whatever that looks like. You might just be putting some distance between where you've been and where you're going. And we also have anomaly, and we've got here an albino crow. Isn't that just amazing? So you guys really are, it's funny, this is the albino crow. It's like you're the black sheep of the family, or the anomaly. You guys might be the more spiritual one in your friend group or your family, and maybe you just know, you just have this deeper knowing, this deeper understanding. It's very interesting. You have 2 white birds here. We've got the swan, and then obviously the albino crow, or the white crow here. This is really beautiful because you guys aren't afraid to stand out anymore. He looks very proud and prominent, and he's not hiding himself. He is, or she, is just ready. And we've also got a white rabbit here, which a lot of times they say follow the white rabbit, with you hear that a lot with conspiracy theories, going down the rabbit hole and all of this. But it's almost like you're investigating the conspiracy theories of your own life, your own relationships, your own just reality. And really investigating things, because I was really picking up an 8th house energy with this here, which is death energy obviously too, but it's like investigating, wanting to get to the bottom of something. And for some of you, for some of us, all of us, we might have to sometimes distance ourselves from the crowd, from everybody else's voice and opinion and aura, kind of, create some distance so we can really tune into our own inner guidance. And I think that's what you're doing, because he's kind of separated from the pack. I mean, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other crows in the background here, but he's not afraid to stand out, but he's also kind of at a distance himself from other crows. So, just kind of stepping back, some of you energetically, from certain relationships, or I'm really seeing for some of you, this has to do with work gossip, work drama, work politics, and you're just fed up, you're just sick of it, you're just like, I don't want to be a pawn in this game, I don't want to be scheming and talking crap about people anymore, I just want to live from my heart. And some of you, it's difficult, because that's all certain people in your life might want to do, is gossip and shame other people or judge other people, and you're just not about that life. You're just not about it. And maybe you never have been, but you've kind of gone along to get along, and now you're just like, it's toxic, it's gross. I feel gross coming away from these connections or these people. I want something deeper. I want something more, heart-based is really what I see here. All right, let's get our final message from group 2's future self. What else does group 2's future self want them to know? That's 2, so we'll take both of them. And it's very interesting because this card actually came out in group 1. So yeah, maybe you guys also selected group 1. But there also is just this element with rebirth, is it's like you are reparenting your own inner child, or taking care of this newborn baby version of yourself that is coming forth right now, or being birthed right now. And we have the number 6 and the number 13, and of course 13 adds up to 4, which is about creating a stable foundation. We got the number 2 and the number 14 as well. Number 1 plus 4 is 5. So if any of these numbers are resonant with you or relevant to you, you can look up any angel numbers in combination, or you can add up 14, 6, 13, and 2 if you feel so inclined to get that final angel number and just see what's going on with that. Then we have the word will here. So it might take some will to decide, okay, I'm stepping out of the matrix, or I'm stepping out of whatever situation of toxicity in this relationship or that relationship. I even see someone either in a friend group or family dynamic that you feel caught in the middle between maybe a parent and a sibling, or an aunt and a parent, or an uncle and a brother. I don't know. It's like it feels like the two people that are pitted against, you know, putting you in the middle, they're pitted against each other, are the same gender. They don't necessarily have to be, but I think for most of you that will ring true. I really do read it as two feminines for most of you. Yeah, I really do see this as like a, maybe it's your mom and your aunt, like a sibling pair that are fighting for some reason, or not getting along for some reason, and somehow you're put in the middle. It could even be a friend group though. One's older, one's younger than you, maybe, quite possibly. Yeah, I'm seeing all sorts of dynamics. So if the exact dynamic I just named doesn't fit, but there are two people you feel like you're in the middle of their controversy or their, you know, beef, whatever it is, you can step away from that. You can even vocalize, because it's almost like her throat chakra has lit up and it's completely illuminated her face here, just to say, I love you, and I love you, and I'm not choosing sides, and I'm not going to be in the middle. I'm not going to deliver messages from you to you and you to you. I'm just not playing this game. I'm gonna live my life. I'm gonna be happy. I love you and I love you, and that's that. So there might be a kind of, you know, coming to Jesus moment that you have with certain people, where you're basically telling them your boundaries. And if you're gonna continue to talk crap about this person when I'm around, or you're talking crap about this person when I'm around, I'm not having it anymore. So there's this element of being able to speak up for yourself. And I even see someone with that whole family dynamic. You're like, I don't really care for either of them. Or, you know, maybe it's a friend group or a work situation. Like, I don't really care for either of them, so I'm just going to walk. I'm walking away. And that's absolutely valid as well. You're exerting your own will. And this isn't to hurt or harm other people to get your way. No, this is doing what's best for you, which ultimately is also best for the group as well. And loving yourself through any specific changes. Taking some time off. Maybe this even looks like, you know, going on a trip or a vacation. But it doesn't just feel like a weekend away. This feels extended to me. So if you are taking like a week off, or 2 weeks off, or a month off of work, or maybe you're taking some sort of leave of absence, I've seen maybe even maternity, I can't even talk, maternity leave for someone with this rebirth energy here. Maybe you're becoming a mother, or having another child, or, you know, if you're a parent, father, whatever. But you are following your heart. That's where this will comes in, is you just not wanting to play small or play in these old roles anymore. You're ready to move on to something that feels better to your heart, to your self-expression, your creativity, your passion for life, and you're going in the direction of something way more successful than where you've been, where your anomalies or your unique qualities are really what make you shine, rather than what you feel you have to hide from others, which is a beautiful message from your future self. I'm loving this group too. So feel free to let me know below what you thought, if it resonated, any stories you want to share. You know, group 2, I always love to hear from you. And as always, thanks again so much for all those likes, comments, shares, subscribes, and all the super thanks. That's the little heart with the $ below. Those of you who've been donating, it's just, I mean, words just completely escape me every time I think about it, talk about it, share about it, because you guys really rock, and you guys are what's keeping this channel going at this point. So I really do say thank you for that. Your donations are never ever expected, but always highly, highly, and greatly appreciated. And those of you that don't want to send the super thanks, I also have a donation link for PayPal in the description below if you would rather go that route. Whatever you feel like doing, I'm here for it. I love you guys, and I hope to see you back here at the Dunn Creative. All right, bye. All right, group number 3 are those of you who selected the little peridot crystal bottle. This is going to be your message from your future self, which I forgot to say what the reading was going to be about in my little spiel at the intro. But of course the title might have already clued you in, so I'm sure you already know why you're here and why you clicked on this video. But if you didn't know that until now, future self reading. We're getting messages from your future self, so let's see what they're starting out with. We have the Fool card. I absolutely love this. This is very similar kind of overall theme energy that we also got with card number 2, or group number 2, for their theme or their first card out on the board. The Fool. This is about taking that leap of faith, trying something new. This is beginner energy, beginner mindset, wanting to branch out and just discover and like experiment. That's the word I'm hearing, is just experiment with new colors, new wardrobe options, new jobs, new hobbies. Just, you're in this experimental phase, which feels very, very exciting, feels very childlike, very creative, very playful. Ooh, I'm just got this really overwhelming rush of excitement. Like, I am here for it. Group 3, you guys always take me for a ride, but let's see what we're in for today. Messages from your future self. Anything else coming through? And this might even surprise you. The fact that you're like, well, I'm pretty stuck in my ways. I don't think I have anything exciting coming up, but you're going to surprise yourself, or spirit, your higher self, your future self is going to surprise you, because you're going to be acting in ways, in good ways, specifically. You're going to be acting in ways that you just were like, wow, that was so mature of me, or oh my goodness, I never thought I could be that accomplished or that amazing, but you are. Okay, wow, this actually also came out in group 2, so we're really feeling the group 2 vibes. You might have been drawn between both of them. And I don't think it was the card specifically that was calling you. I think it was the amethyst. Those of you who selected the pile base because it was amethyst, if you did. If not, don't worry about it unless you feel called. But amethyst and of course peridot, which you selected for this pile, may be very relevant to your journey. And amethyst is great to help you connect with your crown chakra and overcome any habits and addictions, and just connect to your own higher self and of course future self in this instance as well. But we also have influence here. It's like you are distancing yourself from bad influences and experimenting. It's very funny because I use the word like, oh, you're experimenting. And then I kind of thought, oh, that sounds like, oh, you're experimenting with drugs, or, you know, things, you know, kids experimenting is sometimes different because we take it as parents, or, you know, back in the day, our parents like, oh, you're experimenting with drugs, you're experimenting with kissing boys and girls and whatever. And it's like, I'm just trying to figure out what I like and don't like about life. But I'm seeing this as a good thing for you guys. Like I said, experimenting in such a good way that you are overcoming or distancing yourself from bad influences or people who are just, and again, I don't like to say that lower vibe people are any worse than high vibe, or high vibe people are any worse or better than low vibe people. You know, it's all relative. We're all fractals of source, all of that. So it's not that anyone's better or worse, but it's like you're overcoming. You've learned certain lessons and you're just ready to advance. You're ready to level up. And I'm sorry if this keeps moving. My table, it's like I get excited and then my table moves and then that one little stone moves. So my apologies if you are annoyed by that. Just close your eyes maybe or something. But yes, with the distance, I'm really seeing this as you distancing yourself from past versions of yourself, or things that, again, no longer are in alignment with the person you're becoming. And you may not know exactly who you are yet. And of course, your future self is still, you know, learning and experimenting along their way as well to that other future version of you, or that next life version of you, or whatever. So to me, the future version of yourself that we're tuning into, it feels maybe 2, maybe even 3 years out from now, that version of you that is 2 to 3 years advanced from whenever you're watching this. So they do have some hindsight perspective of what's coming up these next 2 to 3 years for you. And you will be, your higher self and your future self, they feel very in alignment to me. Your future self and higher self feel almost like the same energy. That's how, you know, you taking this leap of faith and trying new things is really putting you in alignment with your higher self as a version of your future self. But that's going to include, or entail, you distancing yourself from certain locations, jobs, friendships, relationships, co-workers, homes, you know, whatever resonates now, maybe even things that you think, oh, I could never let that thing or that person or that job go, but you will at some point. We all will let everything go at some point, you know, that death or that exit point. We let all of the earthly things go. But it feels to me like you guys, oh, it's very funny, I'm just realizing, we also had a white rabbit on this theme card for group 2. So wow, you guys really are paralleled. But what I'm saying is, you know, when life is all said and done, this specific incarnation is all said and done, we can't take it all with us. What we can take with us are the memories and experience in that regard, but not the physical people and the physical material world and our possessions and all those things. So some of you might even be paring down your possessions, because in the traditional Rider-Waite depiction of the Fool, they're traveling very lightly. You know, if I'm not mistaken, I think they've got a little pack, like one of those little things on the stick where they tie the cloth, and like they got like just very few possessions that they're carrying with them. And some of you might even be traveling like by like van or bus or trailer, like they're on the road traveling. Some of you, not all of you. Others of you just feel this kind of wanderlust, like I just want to pack a couple of things and go, and then of course I'll return. But it's almost like in the going and then in the returning, you're leveling yourself up because you're realizing there's so much more to life than just this little tiny reality that we've all carved out for ourselves, our day-to-day lives, our mundane day-to-day lives. There's so much more out there to know and see and grow from and experience that a lot of us, especially when we are in that comfort zone, we are just pretty much happy. Even if it's boring, it's better than stepping out of the comfort zone and maybe feeling a little uncomfortable. But this is asking you to get out of that comfort zone and feel a little bit uncomfortable. And with all of this going on, this to me feels like 9th house energy, but also like North Node or Rahu energy as well. So look at your 9th house, look at your North Node / Rahu, whichever astrology you follow, and find out what's going on in your 9th house and what's going on with your North Node. Because these two may be very connected in some way or aspect each other. Maybe you actually have your North Node in the 9th house like I do. And there's just this big destiny of distancing yourself from everything you once knew, or maybe certain elements of what you once knew. Maybe even your spiritual beliefs, quite possibly. And influences, being influenced by outside people or forces, and you're done playing in a matrix or a system, or not to say you're not a team player, but you're just tired of doing things in a way that's broken or doesn't work for you anymore. That's what I see with that. Okay, let's get some additional guidance from your future self, group 3. What does your future self want you to know right now? And again, this version of yourself feels 2 to 3 years from where you are now. So you're 2 to 3 years older than you are now. Ooh, sovereignty. There's that freedom. Like I said, exiting the matrix, exiting those systems that are no longer working for you. You're going your own way. And I just heard the song by Fleetwood Mac, Go Your Own Way. And I hear that once in a while. And this, I mean, yes, there's a wolf in the background, but it's almost like he's venturing out to be a lone wolf. And he doesn't look like he's ready to pounce on this rabbit. He looks like he's just curious about what the rabbit's doing. Maybe he's not hungry right now. Maybe he wants to be friends with the rabbit. We don't know what's going on, but this is about exiting those old ways of being, those old influences, those old patterns of behavior that just aren't working for you anymore. You're leveling up, you're making changes, because we got a 41 here, which is very funny because we have the inverse of 41, which is 14, the number 25, and also the number, ooh, this came out in group 2 as well. You guys are so linked to group 2. It's almost like group 2 would just be group 3's extended reading or vice versa. So if you already watched group 2, this is just an extended reading for you. Really, this just flows seamlessly. Yes, we've tapped into different things, but I think so many people that selected group 3 or group 2 need the message in the other group as well. If you don't feel called, that must not be your energy, but I think many of you, you're going to learn something from your future self by watching both readings, but only if it resonates for you. If you feel that call yourself, then do it. But we got the number 14 and 13 yet again, because we had these numbers come out in group 2, obviously. But wow, this is such parallel energy with you guys. And this is progression. You're using your will, your effort. You are overcoming bad influences, and maybe even the influence of your own ego. I'm really reading this as like a devil card energy anyway. And a lot of times the devil isn't even some external force that's, you know, peer pressuring us into doing all these things. It's our own ego. It's our own, those relentless thoughts that are not us, but we identify, oh, that's me, that I'm thinking negatively about myself again. Really, we are not the person thinking the thought. We are the observer of the thought, which I know is like kind of a brain mess up, like to try to wrap your head around what that actually means. But if you know, you know. If you don't, it's okay. You don't have to like understand it on a deep, deep level. But let's see what else. Yeah, you really are exerting your will to become a more sovereign person. You're distancing yourself from bad influences, bad systems, bad jobs, bad relationships that just are not serving your passion for life, your zest for life, your creativity, your curiosity for life. Because you know, with the sovereignty in this will card, you know there's something so much greater out there for you, or maybe it's right within, and you're discovering it from within, but as you discover it from within, it's going to start being then reflected in the external. So it sometimes does feel out there, but really it's something triggered within us that makes it feel external, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm not making any sense. I don't know. All right, one additional message from your future self / higher self, because I really feel you're embodying this sovereign version of your higher self in this energy in the next 2 to 3 years, maybe even sooner for some of you. So if you feel this big push, shift, move, distance sooner than that, great. But you're gonna just keep leveling up and leveling up over the next 2 to 3 years, regardless of what's going on for you. And then, love it, we're now tying back to the first reading, which was a play card, inner child card. But yeah, this is about really tuning into that inner child, that more innocent part of yourself before these external influences told you who you needed to be, before the world, before school, before society, your parents, before everybody told you who you should be. And tuning back into that sovereign and innocent version of yourself, your soul, that knows who you are and knows everything is possible, yet there are no labels, there are no boxes. It's just this vast, almost void of just absolute potential and nothingness all at the same time. You guys are on a very spiritual path. Let's just put it that way. Over these next 2 to 3 years, I'm seeing this really catalyzing right now. Maybe there's already been seeds planted for this stepping out of old versions of yourself, or stepping out of the matrix, or just not wanting to play old games anymore with certain people or systems, relationships, jobs, just locations. You want to be a more free version of yourself. Tuning back into that innocence where you could just not have to look at the clock and you just wander about, and whatever catches your curiosity or fancy that day, that's what you do. So this doesn't look like you scheduling every free minute of your time to get things done. This feels like freeing up time in your schedule to just live your life and be and experience without feeling like you have to accomplish or prove anything to people or be some certain version of yourself. You're kind of letting all of these expectations and it almost feels like just like parameters or boxes that you've put on your life, the version of yourself who you think you are or you should be. You're releasing a lot of that and just stepping into who you actually are on a more soul or higher self level, which is huge for you, group 3. So wow, your future self really came through and is basically like, yeah, just watch the whole reading. Which only if you feel called. You don't have to watch it if you didn't feel called otherwise. But please feel free to let me know below what you thought, if this resonated, any stories you want to share. If you were one of those people called to both piles 2 and 3, or 1, 2, and 3, feel free to let me know. I always love to see how the energies play and mix, and it's always good to just have that validation, I guess, to know what's going on, energetically speaking, in the comment section. And as always, thanks again so much for all those likes, comments, shares, subscribes, and the super thanks. That's a little heart with the $sign in it. Those of you who've been donating to my channel, I can't do it without you. I love you guys so much. Your donations are never ever expected, but always highly and greatly appreciated. You guys have no idea how much I love you and appreciate you, and I couldn't do it without you. I keep saying it, I know, but also if you don't want to send a super thanks, I have my PayPal linked below. Again, never ever expected, always greatly appreciated, and please feel free to come join me back here at the Dunn Creative. All right, bye.